Hello and welcome back to another episode of Football Talk Podcast. My name's Ozzie and I'm here with my co-host Sid. How's it going, Sid?
I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, not bad, man. Welcome back. It's been a while.
Thank you. I'm glad to be back.
Yeah, man. We've got lots to talk about today. As we're just coming from a Champions League matches, we'll go straight into that. So you can give your thoughts on the PSG game versus United. What are your match reactions on that?
I mean, to be fair, I'll keep it brief because it wasn't much in a way of action, but I was
Yeah,
actually quite pleased with the way United played because
yeah,
if you look at it, we had a lot of, I wouldn't say our main players because I don't know who's a main player no more, but none of them are really performing. But he set us up with five at the back. I think that was the best approach considering how sloppy we've been.
yeah,
Secondly, um, having the two holding midfielders,
yeah.
I think really works and helps us in terms of the energy that it brings. Fred, for me, just carries on from last season. He goes about his business quietly,
Yeah.
and Tommy, he's just got energy for days. Like modern day Fletcher. I know not a lot of people rate Fletcher, but I think
No,
he's
he's a good player.
effective. But it was also Fernandez's debut as captain.
Yeah,
So yeah, he led from the start. Obviously the game was 2-1 to United. The penalty, he was very fortunate because a similar thing happened to United at the start of the season with Crystal Palace, where
yeah,
player came off his line, so they had to retake it. So this happened with Navas, who unfortunately saved it, but unfortunately the next attempt
yeah,
went in. Martial had a quiet game, shall we say. Obviously, it led to him scoring the own goal. If you saw me, I was vexed when I saw that goal. But anyway, yeah, I think Rashford is quietly going about his business. Let me not say anything till end of the season, but the way he's
yeah. That's what I wanted to talk to you about, to be honest with you, because obviously, as we go into the episode a bit more, we'll talk about the Premier League games because Rashford had a great game over the weekend. But what's your thoughts on Rashford right now? Is he a striker? Is he a left winger? Where do you see him playing right now?
I think he's still a left winger,
Okay.
but he's becoming very effective coming in off the wing. So for me, it's almost like, rah, okay, he's actually doing quite well and he's
Yeah.
getting a few goals here and there. So I'm quietly, giving him praise and all of that because he hasn't been my greatest. I don't give him the greatest of praise and all of that, but when he does do his job,
Yeah.
I will highlight that. But yeah, I mean, I think Ole had a lot to do with that win. I have criticised him previously, but I have to give credit where it's due, man. He kept Mbappe, Neymar quiet. Twinzabi was just class. Like for me, he should start. Wan-Bissaka has had a good game,
Mm.
but yeah, Ole should be proud because he definitely did his thing.
Yeah.
Definitely did his thing. But you watched another spectacle, amazing match.
Oh, amazing game. I was off the edge of my seat to watching this game. My God.
As you
This
had
was
your popcorn, everything set up.
everything, nachos, drinks, popcorn, you name it, mate. Flipping now. What a snooze fest. I actually don't, I actually did watch the game, but for me, there's actually nothing to report. That's how boring it was. It was one of those games where neither teams were creating many chances. There weren't a lot of efforts on goal. I was hoping that when they brought on their Moroccan striker El Nasri, he's a bit of a live wire, so normally he comes on and makes an impact. But yeah, it was just a dire game, to be honest with you. Werner was pretty
Poor.
much out muscled by the defenders. Like he couldn't really get off the ball. His first touch wasn't the best. He had a sloppy game, I think. Havertz was practically playing like a number 8. He was just too deep, so he didn't have much impact on the game. I was looking forward to seeing Pulisic play as well, but I think because of such a long layoff, he's not quite up to the standards that he set when he after the restart of the Premier League. So yeah, Ziyech played as well, but he it was didn't make much of an impact, to be honest with you. So a good point for Chelsea, 0-0 against
Mm,
a tricky Sevilla team. But yeah, if I'm honest with you, that was
poor.
very difficult to watch, to say the least, and stay awake. And sorry, Chelsea
Really?
fans, it's the truth. I'm sure you can agree as well. So we
Mm,
can swiftly move on to the Premier League.
yeah.
Yes. So this, I've been waiting to talk about this. I won't be going too crazy with my rant, but I think a lot of
I'm
things have to.
ready. I'm
You
ready.
Listen, I'm gonna keep it calm. I want to be as articulate as possible. Trying not to swear and stuff like that. But I'll just give you my honest intake in terms of what happened over the weekend. So let's start with the Jordan Pickford challenge on Virgil van Dijk. For me, he's just a calamity of a goalkeeper. So that kind of challenge that he did on Van Dijk didn't surprise me. I don't think he did it on purpose. The way people are making out to seem that, oh, he should be suspended for a long period of time. I think you mentioned it to me off air earlier today, Sid, about a journalist saying that he should be suspended for the same amount of time that Van Dijk is laid off, which is completely ridiculous and far-fetched. That's not how football works. You know, football's a game where these things happen, unfortunately. So he was never meant to hurt the player. So for me, the only issue I have with this incident is actually the way it was panned out in terms of the referee and the way VAR was involved. So yes, to be honest, it was offside, but for me, I didn't see it offside. I don't know what it was, but I didn't
Mm,
think it was clear cut offside. I feel
mm.
like they just bend the rules with offside now. That sometimes they say the line has to be based on from your armpit, and then sometimes it's your elbow. It's just like I generally didn't know like what to kind of clarify in that way. So for me, I wasn't quite convinced that it was offside, but I think that's another kind of debate we can get into another time. But we've watched matches where there's been incidents after a round of play or something that's happened off the field kind of thing, and people still get punished after it. So there should be no reason why there wasn't a red card presented to Pickford after that tackle, because it's clearly a red card challenge. So, and obviously it would have led to a penny. But for me, it was just the way the referees ignored that. Like, it was just weird the way they just did that. For me, that's the problem more than anything personal towards Pickford or Everton or the way they played, because it's a Merseyside derby. If you watch those type of games in the past, you know it's an aggressive game. People will be flying tackles left, right, center. Liverpool players as well in the past. So I can't really say that it was done intentionally, but for me, the referees and the referee in terms of linesmen, the fourth official, VAR, not all of those guys just weren't up to standard in that incident, in my opinion. So
Do you think this could potentially have a major impact on your season? Virgil van Dijk.
100%. I would be delusional to say it doesn't. Because for me, I think it hasn't been officially confirmed, but for me, he's out the season. I can't see him returning before the end of the season. Look, he's smiling.
Was it obvious? Sorry.
You can even cover that up. Flip it, oh mate. Uh,
Sorry. Couldn't hide it. Sorry.
uh, but yeah, he's out for the season, and I voiced it in so many episodes before this that Liverpool should have bought a centre back in the summer. It
You
was
said
key.
that?
Yeah, because Lovren was gone, so we never brought in a replacement. So now we actually have only one fit centre back. Matip is injured now.
What?
Yeah, so I don't know how long he just returns from injury. So we kind of rushed him to play that game over the weekend. So he's back to being injured now. So we've only got Gomez, who's also got an injury-prone record as well, and we've got makeshift defender in Fabinho. So
Well, what
if
about that kid?
sorry.
You got that young Dutch kid.
Yeah, oh, that Dutch one, he's not ready to play Premier League football. That's the truth. There's another kid that played in the League Cup a couple of weeks ago by the name of Reece Williams. He looked quite good. And there's another one called what's his name? Cometio, the young kid as well. But these guys are like 17, 18-year-olds. So it's not right to kind of put them into the first 11 of the Premier League. So
Mm,
obviously, if it has to be done, it has to be done. But at this stage, I wouldn't put too much pressure on the youngsters. As we're in October right now, for me, it's vital that we recruit a centre back this January. So we've been linked to a few players already, which obviously was going to happen anyway. So one was Calvin Phillips, but from my knowledge, he's more of a defensive midfielder rather than a centre back. But he can play as a centre back
mhm.
for 50 million.
50.
Yeah, 50 million. Do you know what? I really like him as a player. I rate him, but
It's
I
a lot.
wouldn't want. It's one. It's a lot of money. Two, I wouldn't really want to buy a player who's not really a traditional defender. Like makeshift is fine, but if you're going out to replace one of the world's best defenders, that's not the right way to go. So
Mm,
um, there's a lot of names that have been thrown out. I think for me, my choice would be Upamecano from
get
Leipzig.
out of here, man.
Yes, he come. Listen,
Get
that would be
out
my
of here.
choice. That would be my, but obviously, Leipzig are very, very difficult to negotiate with. So there's
Mm,
already a clause that is activated from next summer. So I can't really see them willing to negotiate a deal in January. So
okay.
it will have to be other options. For me, if I was Jurgen Klopp, there's a player that I quite like from Dortmund called Akanji. He's a
Mhm,
Swiss international. For me, he's a top player. Um, he's a player that would have been more suited to play alongside Van Dijk, but he's
mm,
he's a leader as well. Like he's been captain for I think his previous club, which was FC Basel in Switzerland. I think he's captain's Switzerland as well at the same time. So that shows me that he has leadership qualities, which is what we lack right now. Because Gomez and Matip, as good defenders as they are, they're not leaders. So that's a big, big kind of difference in my opinion. So
but what about Allison? When is he back?
so apparently Klopp has said that he's made good progress. So he might come in within the next 2-3 weeks, I think. But to be honest with you, I know, for example, the first goal. Do you know what? I'll probably ask your opinion on that because obviously you used to be a goalkeeper when you used to play. So for me, I wouldn't completely blame Adrian for that goal because it's point blank. So it's very difficult to save those type of shots. But because he's been in such terrible form, it's easy to blame someone like, oh yeah, it's Adrian's fault again. You know?
But I think you hit the nail on the head. I think because it's Adrian, and unfortunately he's quite similar to De Gea.
Yeah,
He's got a lot of error in him.
yeah,
So a lot of things that do happen, even if he had 5 games before where he's done amazing,
yeah.
that one mistake he makes, they'll highlight that. And you
100%.
look at his positioning, could he have done better? Yeah, no. But like you said, in those situations,
Yeah,
unless you're, I don't know, instant like that, what, what do you see what I'm saying? Like
yeah,
how, and
yeah,
I just think that it's unfortunate, but
yeah.
there's people saying that Karius is there, he can come in, and I was just like, would you even want that?
You know
Like
what? A lot of people would prefer Carrius, you know.
serious.
I'll be honest with you, yeah. In terms of ability, he probably is better than Adrian, but it's not really just about ability. You have to look at the individual as well. What happened to him in the Champions League
Messed him
has
up.
completely shattered him. He can't play for Liverpool as a first team goalkeeper ever because that will always be in the back of his head. So it's a confidence thing. Like I don't think he'll ever reach to that level ever again. No offense to him, that's just how I see it. So, but you're right. I think once a goalkeeper shows a lack of form, there's always an agenda within fans that, oh yeah, he's done a mistake again here and there. And Adrian, because he's second choice as well, makes it worse.
Mm,
So
yeah.
because everyone wanted more, they wanted another goalkeeper before the end of the transfer window. People have been disappointed that we didn't sign anyone. So, but end of the day, he's our goalkeeper. You have to give him your full support.
Do you still think you'll win it though, the league?
Oh, it's very difficult, very very difficult. I think is we spoke in our last episode as
Yeah.
well where we were like it's an open one anyway because everyone's strengthened so well. But now I look at our defense and we're less in numbers because obviously our defenders are injury prone. But in terms of quality, we're not better than any other team without Van Dijk, if that makes sense. I feel like in terms of quality, every defense within the top six is kind of the same level now. So with Van Dijk, we were superior in that aspect. Now it's just like we have to basically make sure we're not getting more injuries by January before we can recruit.
Can
Otherwise,
you
we're
imagine?
good.
Imagine if Gomez gets injured.
Listen, I wouldn't put past it if I'm honest with you because of his record in the past. So it's not. I think at this stage it's just open. That's the way I would look at it. I wouldn't even classify us as favorites. Obviously, as a fan that's optimistic, I would say, I still go for my team and I still feel like we'll do well. But you have to be realistic. It's massive dent to our season. Out of all the players that could have got injured, that's the last player I would have wanted to be injured. Because in terms of attacking, you can always kind of like I've got Jota in the team now, so that could have been a makeshift there where you could have played on the left, right, or middle, and he's a good player as well. So we had cover for that area. Centre mid, we probably have the best, not best individuals, but in terms of collective, in terms of numbers, we've got the best in depth in terms of squad regarding our centre mids. We've got, I think, about 7, 8 midfielders. So we're sorting that with defense is where we're lacking really. So, so for me, that's a bit of a concern. But yeah, that game, man, and also Richarlison as well. That foul he did on Thiago, that wasn't even a tackle. That was an assault. Like, he should be locked up right now. Trust me.
Do you think it was any sort of intent there?
That was 100% intent. He was flying from the other side of the pitch. And the audacity, yeah, when I don't know why he was collapsed on the floor. God knows what happened to him. And the audacity where he got up and he's like, why have I got a red card for? And he wanted to go over and bang up the referee.
Yeah, but some people are stupid.
Look at this guy. He's got a screw loose in his head or something. But that was a shocking tackle. And obviously, I think the referee gave the red card immediately. But it might have been a thing where he probably knew he made a mistake earlier on in the first half with the Van Dijk incident. So he was like, I need to rectify it by making that quick reaction where to be fair, I would say you would hope VAR would tell you it's a red card, but the way VAR went through that game, like I wouldn't even trust VAR. And that leads to my last incident, the winning goal, where I don't see it as being offside at all. I've spoken to a lot of people and you watch it on the TV and the media as well. It's onside. You got that laugh like Thierry Henry now, where your lips moving up and down. It's hilarious.
I can't.
That's the meme right there. I might have to take a picture of that later on. But yeah, it's crazy. But the craziest thing about it that it was just like swiftly just dismissed. I was like, and the referee saw it as well. So I was just like, linesman, referee, come on, like. You guys have the power to kind of do overall VAR, and he could have gone to the monitor to have a look, which he didn't do. So that even adds more questions. And something that I found out as well, the guy who was in charge of making those decisions is a referee called David Coote. I don't know if that's pronounced his name. He's a Man United fan. So obviously there's a gender, but apparently he's already got a bad record in terms of his refereeing as well. And he's similar age, I believe, to Mike Oliver. So when you know how it works with the referees is that they all take turns in terms of you'll be a fourth official this week, you'll be in VAR next week. So they all take turns. Yeah. So it's kind of like your colleague where you don't want your colleague who's actually on the pitch getting all the decisions right. You want to kind of make a name for yourself. You know how referees are. Mike Dean is a prime example. He always wanted to be center of the show, really, isn't it? So because I watched Sky Sports and they were making an example in terms of saying that they should maybe recruit ex-referees where they don't have an agenda in that way, and they're the ones with the most experience who can help make those decisions, which is probably a fair point, to be honest with you. So
I think it needs to be done because I think VAR will cost a lot of clubs this season.
Yes,
like before it was even awarded your goal, I knew something was going to kick off.
Did you?
I knew. No. Do you know what it was? It's just you got to appreciate this is the intensity of the game and the top two clubs at the moment. Like, unless it's clear cut, where whatever. But this was. I knew something was going to happen. So when I saw the VAR being checked, I was just like, it's not going to happen for them. It's not going to happen for them.
I was fuming because I just thought it was a goal. From open play, it didn't even look offside to me. So when they were doing the replays, I'm thinking, that's onside. Like, it's cool, innit? It's just procedure. They do that stuff before they award the goal. That's what offside. And I was just like, I was fuming, mate. Fuming. I can't even say how I felt that day. I was just fuming. But
props to Everton, though.
No. Listen, for me, that's just an issue with VAR, and I just want to say that in terms of VAR, they've got the technology to make these decisions. But the thing is, I don't think VAR is actually the issue. It's the people that work behind the VAR because they're adding their own input. They're not actually using the technology to its capacity. So if their technology is saying that it's offside, just tell us it's offside rather than you You know when they do the replay and you see the lines keep moving and stuff. That's
Mm.
someone controlling that. So
Oh.
yeah, so don't do that. Let the computer do what it has to do. So that's my issue with that. And I think a solution would be because you're a big fan of rugby, Sid. So in rugby,
Mm.
when the referee has a decision to make, you can hear the
Time
referee
out.
have a conversation. I think
Mm.
that has to be in football right now because
Mm.
at this stage, like Liverpool after the game wanted clarification in terms of explain what happened there. What how did you come to those results? But
Mm.
the results that we got were not actually they didn't make sense. And then
Mm.
the referee that I just mentioned to you, who was at the VAR office, he's just been dismissed from his position for this week, and then he's not in the VAR office this week. He's a fourth official for the West Ham game.
Serious.
Yeah, so you know if your position's been in question, you know you've done something wrong, isn't it? So yeah, it's crazy. But I think that would be a solution to add at least allow us fans to hear the conversation that referees have as well with the linesmen, with the VAR people as well. Like I just think there won't be an agenda against referees if we hear it, because if you hear it, you can't really complain, can you? So
Yeah, it
I
makes
think
sense. I think you're definitely right. I think that's what needs to be done because rugby, you hear it, they have the timeout,
yeah,
and then play doesn't resume until
it's
you've got
decided.
to go ahead from the office or in this instance, the VAR office, and
Yeah,
that would be a fair, transparent way to like monitor this stuff.
yeah. No, I agree.
Mm.
But back to the game. So let me not put too much kind of emphasis on those incidents. The game itself was actually a really good game. I have to give props to Everton. Calvert-Lewin scoring another goal, 5 consecutive goals. Also
It's
scored
mad.
international as well against Wales. But yeah, he's doing well. That header, I don't think no one could have stopped that. It was just a pinpoint header. That leap to just head that ball was just amazing. So
Ronaldo-esque.
yeah, it was. I actually thought of that when that happened. I was like,
Mm.
yeah, because a lot of people don't. It's not in the game nowadays. Like you're not really known for like people heading the ball anymore. So
Mm.
it's like an old school kind of trait to have. So,
Mm.
but yeah, it was a good game to watch. Yeah, I think just a shame in terms of how it ended. But Thiago had a great game, man of the match, coming back from COVID as well. Never looked
Yeah.
out of place. So to be fair, I was just happy to see him back in action. I was more excited to see Thiago than anything else. So
Yeah, he's just class, man. I think he's just worlds apart. But yeah.
yeah, different levels. But let's go on to your team as well now. So Newcastle United, good victory for you guys after your loss against Spurs. What was your overall thoughts on the game?
I think with this one, it was one of those ones where even when they conceded, as in United, you could kind of always tell this isn't going to be one of their typical labored, sluggish performances. Like they came to play that
Yeah,
game,
mm,
and I think this is testament to Ole as well because again, he made those bold changes.
yeah,
And minus Dan James, I think everyone else was quite spot on. Like
mm.
he had Mata playing.
That was a surprise one
It
for
was
me.
a big surprise, and again, he's still not starting Van der Beek, and I'm just questioning what is going on. Like even today's game against Paris Saint-Germain, he didn't start, and he came on
Yeah,
last 5-10 minutes. But back to Newcastle game, I think you can. I'm not saying the that performance is going to be a change in their season, but
yeah,
you can slowly see that things are clicking, if that makes sense, because regardless of what team he put out in the last two games, they are responding,
yeah,
and it is a wake up call. I mean, Captain Liability Maguire even came up, trumps and did his thing.
yeah.
Fernandez, I like him, but I worry that it might be burnout soon because he has been playing quite
Consistent.
regularly.
Mm,
So, but the game was a. I think they managed it well. Yeah, you can say it's Newcastle, so it's expected, but the way
yeah,
the season's going, you don't know what to expect.
true.
So I see that as a good result, and I think that's given us a lot of confidence. McTominay again, he's a good. He performed well.
Yeah,
Um, Rashford, of course, but I just think that United needs to build momentum now
yeah,
because I think they're saying they haven't lost away in 18 games. So that's a good result, and I just think that's fine. But you need to like apply that at Old Trafford now because
Yeah.
used to be the theatre of dreams. It's a fortress now. It's just like, oh, anyone's game, they can come and get a result. But yeah, good result. I mean, we still got to play one more because I think we've only played 4 games.
Yeah.
So if we could win that, I think it's against Aston Villa, so it's not an easy game. So if we win that, we're
Nah,
not
not at all.
too far behind the top clubs because I think Everton's leading on 13, isn't it?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. So if we could win, then we're still there or thereabouts. But it was a good performance. I was happy, and
Yeah.
long may it continue.
I'm sure it will for you. Man City and Arsenal. So
Mm,
this game for me, I think it wasn't as exciting as I thought it would be. To be honest with you, I did like Sterling's goal that he scored, and I think he's shown some good form in the last couple of games where he scored 2 and 2. So he's sort of going back to his form as he was last season. Uh, but the controversial part of this game was the incident with Aguero, where he
yeah,
he grabbed the neck of the lineswoman, Sean Macy Ellis. Like,
risky.
risky. What are your thoughts on that?
Do you know what? And I think Gary Neville put it nicely. He said you shouldn't do that. Period. Whether it's a male or female,
100%.
but you got to be very careful, especially as it is a female.
Yeah,
Because that could be seen and treated very differently. And I
yeah.
get that. Take away the fact that it's a woman linesman or a male
Mm.
linesman. I think they are the law in terms of you've got your sheriff,
Yeah,
and then you've got the deputies around him or her, and I think the respect has to be there. And I just think, you're well respected in the league, as in Aguero, but you can't be running stuff like that.
no.
I think it's disrespectful, and he's very lucky.
Yeah, I'm surprised nothing came of it, to be honest with you. Because when I saw it, I was just like, yeah, he shouldn't be doing that. Like my instant reaction was that because when we grew up playing football, like when we played 11-a-side and stuff, you even swear at a referee. I used to get fined for swearing at referees and stuff like that.
Mhm.
Or if I got a yellow card, that's like £10. Do you know what I mean? So,
Mm.
um, like you back in the day, innit? But, calm down a lot. Um, you can't do that, male or
Mm.
female. Like you can't touch the referee, linesman or whoever. Like you said, they're the authoritative people on the pitch. So for him to just grab the lineswoman like that, for me was just a joke. And I'm very
Mm.
surprised that he didn't get punished. Like people are like, oh no, it's not a big deal. But at the end of the day, you wouldn't do that to the police officer now, would you? Because we'd probably get a hit straight afterwards. So you can't do that. So I was very surprised. Obviously, if you shouldn't highlight this as the point of the game, but for me, that was like a sticking point where I feel like the right action wasn't done in terms of for the lineswoman as well, because not nice way to be treated. She shouldn't have to be treated like that just because she's a female. Everyone should be equal.
Mm.
So yeah, I don't know. FA's not had a good week, if I'm honest with you.
No, it's been poor. It's been a poor showing because there's
Yeah,
so many things that they've missed,
yeah,
and it's just like, how are you letting them get away with da 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 da? Like that
yeah.
doesn't work like that.
Nah, it's crazy. Speaking of crazy, we had a couple crazy games over the weekend as well. Chelsea and Southampton. Like Chelsea just I don't even know what to say, Sid. Like they're just it's like yo-yo team, isn't it? Like you don't know what to get from them. Like 3-0 up.
I said it. I said it. I said it. Whilst you have Lampard, they're not going to do anything.
I said it as well. I said it as well.
Yeah, yeah, I'm not disputing that, but I just think with Lampard, he's not a good manager.
No,
You're leading 3-0
yeah,
and you want to drop like, nah, come on, my friend. Like
crazy.
that, you've got some of the world's best young players in your
Yeah.
team, then in your squad as well, and
There's
nah.
no excuses, Sid. Literally, because you can't spend that much money. And they are quality players, let's be honest. Like
Yeah.
any team in the Premier League would love to have some of the players that they recruited over the summer. But look, the thing is, they're not showing any signs, Sid, that they're going to click or they're doing well. This is the thing. Like, I'm not saying, oh, Werner hasn't scored that many goals yet, so he's not going to be a success this season. But I can't see nothing. I just watched them play in the Champions League and I was bored. Like,
Yeah,
I think Lampard's game management is poor. It's not the first time where he's lost like that. Well, sorry, not lost. It must have felt like a loss for Chelsea fans, but they drew to West Brom like that not so long ago as well.
yeah.
So, and I think a similar scoreline. So, it comes from the management. So, obviously, I think his persona makes him seem like he's, the man right now. But look, your results aren't reflecting any of that.
Yeah, he kind of like, I know you think I'm changing my tune now, yeah, but he he is at that point where even a lot of other people are recognizing he's getting a bit too cocky.
Yeah.
And I was only saying that because I didn't agree with certain things like Klopp and him were like when they had the argument, I was just saying well, Klopp shouldn't have done this. But in terms of him as a person and what he thinks he's done and where he thinks he is, let's take a step back, young buck. You've managed Derby, yeah, and you're
You
very
didn't do much with them, let's be honest. They
yeah.
finished the same position as they finished the previous season with the other manager. I think it was Nigel Pearson. So,
hmm
didn't do
It's,
much.
you didn't do much. You're a club legend. That's why you got the position. Let's not beat around the bush. You're well educated, and that's another reason, because you're articulate and you can get your point across. And for me, that's it. If you're
Yeah.
talking about leading them to the next stage, you got to get your best bet is bringing back Ancelotti.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
and nurturing these players because at the end of the day, Frank Lampard's not experienced enough to take these players that he's got to the next level.
Yeah.
And that's the problem you're going to face. These players aren't going to grow under Frank Lampard.
No. He's not a coach. Like, there's certain managers where they specialize in coaching. So if they sign youngsters, they can literally nurture them to become the next big thing.
Mm,
Whereas he's had a lot of youngsters around him, and he signed more established players in the summer as well. And they all look the same level. So for me, it's like, why weren't these youngsters given more opportunities to play? And
mm,
like the players that are still making numbers right now, it's like players like Mount, who's coming on doing well. They sold Barkley. I don't know why they loaned Barkley. I think he would have done well in that midfield. Um, like Werner's doing all right. Tammy Abraham, some have their opinions on him, but end of the day, he was getting goals. Giroud, top striker for France, can't even get a game in Chelsea team. Like things like that. It's ridiculous. Like I'll be fuming if I was a Chelsea fan, but yeah, it is what it is on their part, isn't it? But
this just frees up a space in the top four because they're definitely not making that.
nah, I don't think they will. I don't think will. I think there's a lot of teams like I think the next team that we're about to talk about for me are one of the contenders. I know
Yeah.
they drew, but the way they're looking right now, especially Son and Kane, mate, they are looking unstoppable right now.
They're on fire.
Literally on fire. Like they're like the two players that I would love to see in my team. Like outside of my team, I'm sure you'll agree as well. Son is like one of
Mm.
my favorite players.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
the way
yeah.
Kane has upped the levels this year in terms of the way he's like assisting and scoring as well. Yeah, it's different, man. They're
It's
doing.
crazy. It's
Mm,
crazy. I mean, yeah. I mean, if you look at the game, it's very unfortunate, and you wouldn't expect that to happen.
yeah,
But up until that point, they looked very strong.
yeah. Especially Kane hit the post, and
Mm,
then Bell had a chance 1-on-1, and he just hit it wide as well. So those two were like defining moments where if they'd gone
yeah,
in, then the game was wrapped up at the time.
I think so. I think so.
Yeah,
And very fortunate that West Ham scored, but Tottenham are definitely going to be a problem.
yeah. That Lanzini
Definitely.
goal, though. What do you think of the goal?
I mean, you that's a once in a
Yeah,
moment strike. You can't practice that continuously. Like he
yeah,
hit that and hoped for the best
yeah.
because that shot, nah, it was unstoppable.
Unstoppable, unstoppable. That was like because Lanzini's obviously he had a very serious injury last year, so he's not really been in the team that much. But maybe the signing of Ben Rama kind of pushed him to be like, yeah, I need to make an impact when I get onto the pitch because
Mm,
if I'm not doing anything, then he's gonna take my spot. And they're very similar type of players as well. So, but that goal was special, like you said, once in a lifetime sort of hit that you would do as a player. Like I'm sure when he hit the ball, he knew he was going in as well. Just the
Yeah,
way he
you can
sliced it.
sense it.
Yeah, just like he sliced it. But yeah, it was a good roundup of games. I would say a lot of goals, but
Mm.
a lot of controversy at the same time. Something that came up today, Sid, which is something we haven't got a lot of sort of details about, is both of our teams doing another proposal. So last week I spoke about the
Mm.
bigger project, whatever they want to call it, which was say was ridiculous. I don't know what your thoughts are on that project is, but this is no better in my opinion.
I don't understand what benefit will come from this. You're effectively going to break away or dismantle an established, shall we say, foundation.
Yeah,
Because at the end of the day, the
yeah,
Premier League is one of the biggest leagues in the world. It brings in many viewers from across the globe, and you want to like break away from that to start your own European Premier League. And you know what? It's making us appear to be bad in the sense that,
our clubs are looking like a joke right now, bro.
yeah,
Literally, like I'm not even like, yeah. Last week when I did my episode, I was just like, yeah, I'm ashamed of my club. Literally, I'm
mm,
ashamed of my club because that's ridiculous what they're doing. Like the proposal last week that they presented was giving a carrot to the lower leagues. We're like, oh yeah, we'll give you 250 million to cover your losses through the global pandemic right now. But there was an agenda behind that, so they can have more power. This as well for me, like it would only make sense because I think FIFA are backing this proposal. So it only makes sense if it was replacing the format of the Champions League. But they want this to be an additional tournament in a normal season, which is just a joke. And
that's,
obviously, it's all revenue based because obviously our teams are owned by Americans. So the way the sports is in America is very different, where the bigger teams have the power. So they
mm,
kind of like call the shots there. So this is the kind of power they want, and they want to try and generate as much revenue as
yeah,
possible. That is literally the goal between these two clubs, and it's embarrassing to be talking about, to be honest with you.
yeah, and like you said, it's just greed. And it it's funny that you mentioned that our owners are American, and I think like they view and treat sports differently there.
Yeah,
It's just money based and all of that. Yeah, there is a good like fan presence and all of that. Yeah, but ultimately, you can look at it like in NFL. Halftime when they got like Super Bowl. Like, look at the big spectacle. They got like
yeah,
planes flying in. They got the national anthem sung by Beyonce and all of this. And I just think that's probably bigger than the actual game.
yeah,
But to get a slot in the adverts at that time, you're paying millions.
yeah. It's true.
And this is what it's going to get to in the Premiership, because at the end of the day, like, it's just money. That's all it is. And I
Yeah.
just think, nah, like they need to like nip it in the bud, because the two Liverpools and Man United, they're going to be treated very differently. They're not going to have the same level of respect from other managers and clubs.
Especially if they keep on bringing proposals. Like this is the second proposal in 2 weeks. And the funny thing is, like these talks that the clubs or the higher sort of hierarchy of these two clubs have been in discussion for years about these proposals. It didn't just come out of the blue. Like
Mhm.
the big project one that was discussed for the last 3 years.
Yeah,
So it's been like in the works between the clubs, and it's just for me, it's just a joke. Like obviously, we want our teams to sign big players and stuff like that, but at the end of the day, we're all going through crazy times right now financially and with our families or with the global pandemic. And they're literally finding the best way to make money right now or to try and recoup some of their losses that's happened in the past 10 months. And
yeah,
it's just a joke. Like nothing's been considered regarding the fans. Like obviously you're aware of the pay-per-view matches now. £15 per match,
joke.
complete joke. Complete joke. And now they're charging more money on top as well. Like for me, it's just like people losing their jobs right now, people in financial restraints right now. It's just like there's no kind of remorse about that right now. So for me, it's just a joke. And at this point, I wouldn't want to be affiliated with Liverpool right now because these proposals are a joke. I know some people might see a different way of looking at what, like, oh, it might be an enticing project where you get the best teams in one tournament, but that's the Champions League for me right now.
That's all it is. That's all it
You
should
don't
be.
need to create another league. Like the Champions League format is perfect. So
Yeah.
for me, it just doesn't make sense.
It's a shame, and I just hope that this can be nipped in the bud, because if it carries on,
Yeah.
it's going to cause such a bad issue going
We're a
forward.
joke right now in terms of our
Yeah.
reputation. Like, people just like, oh, for God's sake, like again, like you just spoke about another proposal now, another one.
Mm,
Like,
yeah,
yeah, this is ridiculous. But
it's not helping
yeah,
them at all.
nah, we'll move on from from our club terrible business plans right now. We'll just do a little FPO overview. How did you do over the weekend?
No, I did all right, but it wasn't my best season. I think last match week was my good season, good week. I think this week I got 53 points.
Yeah, I got
Um,
72, so I'm still top three. But yeah, it was a tricky one because I had a few injuries as well. I think a lot,
mm,
and for me, it was a concern that because we just came from an international break, some players might not have been fit, or some of them might have had to be in quarantine, because you wouldn't hear this stuff until later on before the Saturday matches, isn't it? So for me, it's like a tricky one. But I got a 72, which I wasn't, too not too
that's
shabby,
good.
but
You're doing a
but
good job.
yeah, not bad. But this is like another my cousin, who was manager of the week, is manager of the week again consecutively. He got 87 points.
I need to start following him.
Unbelievable. I need to stop giving him tips. He doesn't
Yeah, I
even
need.
charge me for it, so I'm start charging now. Well done, Umair Rahman. Yeah, very good. To be fair, I feel like he's been because you can buy players, but then you get minus points if you do more than one or two chances. I think he's been doing that. But I'll probably have a little chat with him later on. But
Leave him. He's doing a good job.
he's doing a good job. He's doing a good job. So yeah, that's our fantasy football segment there. But thanks for listening, guys, and watching. I know we've kind of broadcast it at a later time, but we'll be back next week, Tuesday, at our normal scheduled time at 8 o'clock. Don't forget to to comment, like, and subscribe, and we shall see you soon. Take
Take
care.
care, guys. Thank
Stay
you.
safe. Thank you.